So many cards, so little time, so little resources, and so much Peko Peko. Ohayuki, everybody. It is your dealer, Yukichi Reikyu, here for some more Duel Masters and Hololive collaboration, because they just won't stop feeding more and more to do in this game. You know, I don't remember the Pop Team Epic collab having this much to it, but I suppose it is, you know, Hololive, right? You gotta pull out all the stops, and pull out all the stops they did. There we go. Game took a bit to load there. Also, how's the volume and everything? Because I, as always, am messing with things and don't really know if it should be any different. Wow, the game seems really slow today. There we go. Also, the game in general, the volume seems really weird a lot of the times. It'll sound too quiet on the stream, but sound really loud to me, and I don't know what the deal with that is, how much I need to tweak that, if any, but hey. In fact, I turned it up, but it seems like it got quieter. I don't know how that works, but hey, we'll go with this. So, there's been a lot to cover, I suppose. So, let's start off with the accessories, because as I said before, there's a whole bunch of Hololive playmats for the collaboration, and I've got them all. So that's one thing down. Then, after the collab started, Ohayuki, hey there Blue, how are you doing tonight? We head over on into prize cards. I think volumes are right for now, I sure hope so. But over in prize cards, we have signature versions of some cards with the Hololive members associated with them. So we have Silent Spark with Fubiki, Hogan Blaster with Pekora, and Super Scrapper with Polka. And one copy of Silent Spark was given to everyone for free from Fubuki's stream, because she apparently won the battle that she was having with Polka on stream. I missed that stream, unfortunately, but the rest have to all be purchased, and unfortunately, you have to use duel points to obtain prize cards, because it's essentially like crafting the card, and it's 8,000 points per one copy of a premium card. So we're not getting any premium cards, and I don't even think I have enough for all of the regular promos. And so I ended up just grabbing 2 of each of them. I don't really know if I'm ever going to play more than, well, if I play a deck that can run Silent Spark, I would probably run more than 2 of Silent Spark. It remains to be seen, but I just grabbed 2 of everything, that way I can put in 2 in any deck where I decide to play any of these. Patrick Hogan Blaster, exactly. But yeah, premium is completely off the table. Unfortunately, I'm still a new player and have very limited resources, so nothing I can really do about that, but hey, at least we have some of the promos. Then, of course, we did day 1 of the Legend Battle, so we still have to complete day 2 and 3, which we're going to be doing tonight. The ending still isn't available. It's unlocking in 7 hours. I'm using 2 DNA, 2 Silent. That seems about right. And finally, they added in the Tower of Trial from last event, which I'm not looking forward to doing, but... Oh, right, I forgot that you can't, for some reason, zoom in on the promos in this screen, but they added promos for Dancing Fever, Dancing Fever, which we're also going to have to do some grinding to obtain. Luckily, we already have 4 copies of Kiramaru, so we don't really need to grind all the way. We only need to grind up to the 80,000 for all the copies of Dancing Fever. I believe not the last event, whatever event it was that they gave away, I forget, it was, the legend battle for the Zeniths. I didn't get the 4th copy of Fairy Crystal with the wedding alt art, and I don't think I grinded Tower of Trials during the Pop Team Epic collab, so I might have missed out on, I think it was Codename Sherlock that I missed out on. There's a whole lot going on, basically, and I doubt we're going to be touching any PvP tonight. It's mostly going to be doing some collab stuff, because not only do we have to complete the legend battles, we still also have to grind the legend battles for the remaining promos. And again, we don't really need to grind all the way to the end for the SR promo, although it would be nice because even if we're not using it, that is free points that we can use for crafting things. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started on episode 2, and not read any of the story because it's probably going to be difficult to follow anyway, and just hop into the battles. And so with all that said, how are you doing all tonight? That was certainly English. Wait, what? What are you asking me here? Haishin error. Or, that's not Haishin, but, retry. Weird. Also, in the downtime between last stream and this one, I made a new deck to actually make use of Code King Wilhelm with the Pekko artwork there. So we'll be experimenting a little bit with this, I don't really know what you would call this deck, but it's a 4-color something. It basically aims to ramp into either Onimaru, Kaiser Baki, or Kiramaru as our finishing options. I deleted that Zenith deck that we were playing before because it was just kind of hastily thrown together, didn't really do anything. Connection errors have been frequent. This seems to be a running trend, is that whenever there's a collab, the game just stops working. But yeah, and aside from that, I also put together this gacha deck, using the 4 Kiramaru that we got, of course, and we also have the main draw of this deck, Toramaru GGG, which on attack performs Gachinko Judge 3 times. If you win 3 times, you get to play a cost 12 or lower from hand. You win twice, you play a cost 8 or lower. And you basically just hope to get lucky and flood your board with a whole bunch of stuff that you can't actually afford to play. If you win 3 times, you play Kiramaru from hand, then Kiramaru does another sequence of Gachinko Judges, and anything that he reveals, you get to play for free. Very, very fun, and also very dumb. I enjoy it. It fits the spirit of the channel, I think. But for right now, I think we're going to be giving this 4-color abomination some time in the sun. Yeah, pretty much. Basically, because collabs are usually the biggest, like, spike in activity for a game, right? So everyone's logging in trying to get collab goods, maybe actually buy into the collab, and the game servers can't handle that level of activity because normally the game isn't this active. Also, just as a side note, using some of the points that we got from all of the SRs and whatnot we pulled in our collab packs, I did finally craft the 3rd copy of Orchestra for the Orchestra deck, and made a few changes here and there to the deck. I also added Wilhelm to this deck, as you can see over in the bottom here, because it just sort of fits in well with what this deck wants to do, and it's an excuse to run Pekko. But what better excuse to run Pekko than a deck that's more or less focused entirely on Pekko? And with that, we'll need to update this. This is somewhere about there. Maybe, nope, wrong direction. Move that down a little bit. And just Polka versus Polka. Fantastic. Maybe I should put the Polka Flare on my account. I don't know. It's not like I've been doing a whole lot of ranked recently. In fact, recently I haven't really been doing all that much. Work eats up so much time, it's kind of difficult to. Like, I'm still supposed to be working on, you know, the whole, what's it called? Ooh, excuse me. Working on the follower thing. I am going to do it eventually. You know, things are still a bit weird scheduling-wise, but we'll get somewhere eventually, I hope. I don't want to just leave that in the ether, you know, kind of like the other things that we had going. Incidentally, once again, music seems iffy. It's like, it feels like the BGM is just louder than everything, even though they're basically on the same volume level. But we've talked about this before, right? The weird volume mixing in COVID games. Although this technically came out before COVID, so it doesn't really have that excuse, but still. Volume mixing is difficult, apparently. Nice, hit the Ryusei hole. So that means we can Ryusei hole here. Probably go for Prin, so we can deny one attack while getting rid of something else. Yeah. As always, a deck that's playing Ryusei always has issues with aggro. Not that I would necessarily call this aggro, really, but it struggles with it nonetheless. Like, this is going to be our last shield. Unless, of course, yeah, we hit Terror Pit. Or Demon Hand, as it's called in Japanese. That'll work. Then we Mana Charge the Don Don. Go for Wilhelm. Yeah, it sounds like voices are really quiet, but basically everything is on the same volume level. I don't get it, but whatever, I guess. And we can't attack that. Kogeki Sarenai. That's actually kind of annoying. Because that means if our last shield isn't removal, we die to the level 1 NPC. And it was not removal. So we died to the level 1 NPC. Fantastic. Fantastic. I need to figure out something with this volume because it's bothering me. Which makes me wish that it was easier to access settings like that in games. Duel Masters has this issue. Master Duel doesn't have this issue. Because I think the sidebar menu is always available. But Shadowverse, which a lot of this game's UI is based on, has this problem, hence why this game has this problem. Just lots of settings basically only being available from a specific menu that you can't always access. I would think, if anything, the settings menu should be the one thing you can always access, but you can't access the settings menu unless you're on the home menu, which requires you specifically tabbing over to the etc. tab, or you can access it from the battle menu here, where we'll turn down the BGM just a little bit, and completely brick on our opening. Weird to have that one happen during... Well, I guess it's not a brick anymore with the draw there, but... Wait, do I not have a brick on this scene? Huh. Well, whatever. We'll go Mana Charge, Pixie Life, play Jasmine, and hopefully we hit blue mana? Or water, rather? No, but that's pretty good. We still do need blue, however, so we can play Don Don. Like that, that works. And that'll also help prevent an attack coming at us. I guess we'll grab Miss May. That's probably our best option here. Then next turn we can play May for full cost, not have to attack with her to get the flip over onto her higher cost side. OMG Polka playmat. Hey there, Mazuko, how are you doing? How's the move and everything? Are you all settled in, all ready to go be lyrical demonical? We'll play the high cost one, of course. Yeah, it's Hololive and Duel Masters. It's a match made in, I wouldn't say heaven, and God, do I love Polka. I would have loved, okay, never mind, I drew Ryusei Hole anyway. Disregard the statement, I suppose. And what do I go for here? I feel like I have to go for Bagoon. I need to draw cards. Snug as a bug in a rug. Polka sit on my face moment. I don't know about all... No, you're probably right. But yeah. I wouldn't say that I'm a Polka simp. I just like Polka a lot. And we went through the spiel on the first stream, but around the time that I was really starting to get invested, so to speak, that was when Gen 5 debuted, so I showed up to all of the Gen 5 debuts, and of Gen 5, Polka was my favorite. Wow, this is a garbage hand. And you know, she just kind of... everything just sort of clicks, you know? We just kind of mesh, so to speak. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of happening. can't attack that. We also realized that Polka and I have the same eyes, right down to the, you know, the diamond shapes for both purple-eyed. I may have unconsciously taken a lot of inspiration from Omarun. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe it's revealing my hand a little, so to speak. Ooh. Speaking of revealing my hand, just go with it. I know that segue doesn't work, but just go with it. We ramp into... we go Kiramaru, right? Or do we go Kaiser Baki? If we go Kaiser Baki, we do get to summon Onimaru. Yeah, we'll go Kaiser Baki. But, either way, it's good to see you around again, Mazuku. Hopefully you don't have any more neck troubles like you were at the previous abode. Damn, that's a lot of Gachinko Judge wins. Are we gonna win all 5? We won all 5. Insane. Okay, so Onimaru, Kirimaru, and I guess another Kiramaru. And we just hopefully win here. One more Gachinko Judge? Barely. Oh, I forgot about that. We just get to use everything reveal off Gachinko Judge for free. Nice. Doesn't super matter here. We get an extra turn. Did you also take the beef PC? I don't know if I'd say beef. God. Oh, the crazy eyes too, just, well, we covered the eyes thing already, but that specific expression, that was, I love that. You know, it's a lot like, Koharu. Is her name Koharu? Yeah, from Blue Archive. Bird. I just love that expression in general, which is part of why I like that character. Maybe we'll get that as a toggle when we get an upgrade. Speaking of PCs and whatnot, if you recall, if you were here, you know, months ago, my SSD experienced random failure when I was in Japan, and because I was somewhat low on funding at the time, I needed to just get an emergency replacement, so I ended up buying a very small SSD to run, you know, my OS on, and I have rapidly been approaching the threshold of this tiny SSD, so I'll probably need to look into upgrading at some point, you know, for more space. Ooh, excuse me once again. Koharu, that sounds like you've got some trauma from the bird. Luckily, I don't actually play any of these games, so any, let's say, shortcomings with the characters mean nothing to me. I'm just there for the artwork. But either way, yeah. So I'm approaching the end of, like, my drive space, and I may need to invest in a bigger SSD, or just another drive in general at some point, which... Oh, what the hell? Sure, I guess. I don't know what just happened there. King, Ren-O, tap skill, evolve, I'm thoroughly confused here. How many... Wait, what? There are 4 forms of this thing? Is this a game original card? Because there's no way this would function in paper. Unless, I do know Duel Masters has some funky thing where they have triple-sided cards or something. Is this one of those? Proud gacha tertiary? Yeah. Like, you won't see me touching a gacha that isn't a card game. And the only time I would wail on card games would be for collabs like this, not the actual obtaining of cards. So, none of that matters to me. I forgot about Polka's meme deck. You might want to read the last one? Okay. What does the last one do? Shinka no mai ni Gouken o to aru creature. Soul Shift. この creature の召喚コストは進化元にする creature のコストだけ少なくなる。ただしこの creature の持つ文明? Is that how you read that? If that is how you read that, I don't know what bunmei is. And I also still don't remember what that kanji is either. Yori, naku naranai, kogeki suru toki, aite no creature itai o erande mo yoi. Kono creature to sono eranda creature o battle saseru quattro breaker. 相手のまたは相手のクリーチャーのによってバトルゾーンの Wow, there's a whole lot of kanji in this. 自分はゲームに勝利する Wait, so that's an instant win effect. I know that much. Your opponent's spells and creatures. Okay, hold on. What is this called? Kengeki Oji or Oja. That doesn't help me. What set is this from? That works better. DMPP 15. Time to check the wiki. But first we slap a whole we'll just call that 7. DMPP 15. Golden Victory, Rising Arise, First of Victory, Fire Souls Duelist. Where are you? Fire Civilization, Kengeki Absolute Ruler Final Flare. When this leaves the battle zone due to the effect of your opponent's spells or abilities, you win the game. Okay, so I just won't remove it. But also, that's... Who came up with that one? Anyway. Well, doesn't that just mean that I die? I think I go for Don Don here. Seriously though, what is that card? Like, if your opponent removes this card, lose the game. You know, considering he wasn't in his final form, I could have just removed it then. But hey, we're not here to make good decisions. And apparently Polka's just gonna go aggro. And naturally, we're not going to have any shield triggers whatsoever. Because, naturally, why would we? So what's the plan for this one? Is it just rush her down? Because rush down decks are not a thing that we have. Well, we had a rush down deck. I deleted it. Well, when all else fails, go for the gotcha. This is more than enough gotcha for me, I think, is playing this deck. Oh, you know what? I forgot to make the channel point redeems. I was going to do that before the next stream, but I guess that slipped my mind because I've just been completely drained the past, I guess, week or so. Work takes a lot out of you, you know? That's not even really true, because my job is kind of low impact a lot of the time. It's really more so just the poor sleeping habits, and other things of that nature. Ooh, that was a bad one. Unfortunately, the way my mic is designed, it's kind of difficult to hit the mute button, so you're just gonna get a whole lot of noises into the microphone. I can't really do a whole lot about that. I mean, I can, but it would be difficult, I guess, is the best way of putting it. Ooh, Royal Straight Flush Kaiser. That'll be nice for our gotcha turn. And we have pretty much the best setup we could ask for with it. Unless Polka bounces Hanabi, then we're in a weird spot. But whatever, it'll just take one more turn, I suppose. Poor tired Tanuki. I'm not that tired. It's... I mean, like I said, it's really just poor habits and whatnot. Geez, we played the deck to rush her down, and now she doesn't even get her deck running. Well, whatever. We'll just play Toramaru and begin the gotcha. One. We should probably always win this, right? Yeah. Easy. And then we play Prin Prin, which then untaps Toramaru, so we can do it all over again. And that's more or less just how this deck functions, is you play Prin Prin on the first one so that you can give it a second try. And then you go for the second one, you win 3 times, and you summon Onimaru. Except at this point, it doesn't really matter all that much, because, well, I guess if we didn't summon Onimaru, we wouldn't win this game on this turn. And then we get an extra turn, and revealing Prin Prin off of Gachinko Judge means that we get 1 extra shot at this. Oh, that was Aqua Surfer. Which, it's a good thing we hit the Prin Prin there, because then we still get our last attack in. Wow, she has nothing that can beat us in Gachinko Judge, apparently. The poor habits are what I like, so I won't encourage changing those. I don't exactly think that's a healthy thing to do, but I guess neither are the habits, so it works out. Whatever. At the end of the day, it's like, it is what it is, right? it's, I mean, it doesn't have to be. We can change things, but I don't think I'm going to. And ultimately, I think I'm fine. Well, I'm not fine, but that has nothing to do with the sleep. Either way, it's just been weird. Like, I definitely did intend on streaming last night. I ended up passing out after dinner because I was just so spent. Wait, am I playing? Yes, I'm playing Gacha again. But yeah, things are going to, or rather, wow, all colorless hand. I'd like to get the ball rolling. You know, it's just, it could be easier to do. And I don't really know how I can do that. Nice. I guess the best thing to, well, not the best thing to do. Jeez, like, this is the kind of thing that could only happen to me. All 4 copies of Kiramaru in my hand. How? How does this happen? And how does... You know, this is it right here. This is the entire reason that we do what we do. Is to show just the zenith of zero class luck. All 4 in my hand. Which undoubtedly means that when we do actually get to our Gachinko judges, we're going to whiff every one, because all of our high cost cards are in our hand. And then double print as well, which I guess that is a good thing, since he just discarded our print. But Life Plan Charger, okay. This is fine. As long as we top deck Toramaru, we're in a good spot. We just need to top deck Toramaru. That's not Toramaru. What do we do? I guess still top deck Toramaru. The problem with this deck is kind of that it doesn't really do anything if we don't get Toramaru. And we're also not getting any of our consistency cards, which that leads me to believe our consistency cards are probably in our shields, and we're losing Hanabi. Yep, sure enough, there's our consistency cards. And Kaiser Baki, which we only have 1 copy of. Kogeki suru toki jibun ga makeru ka kata ga aite no shield no ni naru made. Well, we can play Gachinko Judge until we lose or choose to stop. And for each shield that we, or what is it? It's for each time we win, we break a shield. So I guess we'll go for the Royal Straight Flush. That's 1. 2. 3, which we lost that one. You know, it does say until you stop. But, come on. But we don't actually have the option to stop manually. It just keeps going on its own. That's... And there goes our consistency, once again. And I almost guarantee... Yep, there it is. Well, Hanabi is not really consistency. Hanabi is... What's the word I'm looking for? And there go... Wow, we just keep getting Prin, which, you know, that's fine. We do kind of actually need Prin for our game plan, but it's weird that every time we lose a copy, we just get another one. Go for the 3. Nice. Unfortunately, this attack is going to get blocked, so we won't win, and we don't run anything like DNA Spark, so this is going to be a loss. And there's Codename Sherlock. Okay, so they were all in our shields. Fantastic. As always. Also, I still don't understand why the wiki has this card's name listed as Hanabi, because the card's name is very clearly Hibana. Was it released in English and they just changed the name for some reason, or did the Duel Masters community just collectively forget how to read? It could be anyone, really. And this gets ticked up a little. Fuck you. Wait. Where's the option to... There we go. Get rid of the bots. It's been a while since we had one of those. I would like it if I could close the damn window, OBS, please. OBS, hello? There we go. Yes, I'll get the sip. What are we doing here? We have Forever Princess. We'll mana charge that. Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen bots. But the bots definitely still exist, and the problem's not going away. Where are you? There we are. Nice, refreshing water. Link of the Beyond goes back to hand. Yeah, we'll just... Wow, this is a tough turn. I kind of have to mana charge one of these, because I do want to keep Ryusei in hand. Because if we whiff on the... Well, I guess it works out. We got Prin. See, there's a game plan here. All we have to do is follow it. So, next turn, we just mana charge, and then we lose Prin, naturally. So we're really going to need to, get something good here. I don't think that this Polka AI runs enough high-cost cards to really win Gachinko blah. I guess that could happen. Yep, there it is. We could always just hit all of our low-cost cards. As always, that's an option. And that's also an option, is running into the shield triggers. Oh boy. Well, on the bright side, we probably win next turn. I don't think there's anything that she can do. Unless that's like some... Unless that's some insane shield trigger. Which, you know, it could always be some insane shield trigger. But I think we're in a good enough spot. Man, I really wish it was easier to mute. Although I don't think that's picking up on the mic anyway, because there's not really a sound to pick up. But it's weird, you know? But speaking of weirdness, it's weird that, I don't know, to me there's something weird about, Jesus, really? To me there's just something weird about the fact that the attack continues after the card gets untapped. I feel... And there's no reason that that should be weird based on, you know, what I know of other card games and whatnot. It does make perfect sense. But I don't know, something just bugs me about, you know, untapping a creature and then just continuing with what you were doing before that. Which is also why Weiss Schwarz got rid of the restanders that function that way. Also because of the way combat in Weiss Schwarz works, you could end up paying the cost for your ability and then fail the ability because, you know, it's... what's it? You fail the ability, or you pay the cost for the ability, you restand, and then you still die in battle, and then can't actually get the second attack because now you're no longer standing, you're reversed. What do you think of Gachinko Shobuda as a game mechanic? It just kind of seems like nothing to me, really. I think every game to some extent has a mechanic like this, so it doesn't really feel out of place or anything. Like, even Yu-Gi-Oh! Technically has the card called Anti, which does the same thing, or at least something similar. It's both players reveal the top... I think it's the top card of their deck. It's either the top card of their deck or reveal a card in their hand. And the player who reveals the lower cost card discards that card and takes damage equal to its level times whatever, with spell and trap cards counting as level 0, of course. You know, Bushiroad games have their trigger mechanic. Interesting. I think we just monocharge Hibana there and add Toramaru from deck to hand. But yeah, Bushiroad games have triggers. Bushiroad games also have the whole either reveal top of deck or mill top of deck or something similar. It just kind of seems bog standard for TCGs to me, so it's... I mean, obviously, the cards that we have, the payoff on them is kind of extreme, but, you know, that's just kind of the way things go. Duel Masters is very much a flashy and do wacky things kind of game, so it just seems par for the course that you would have cards like Toramaru, where... Well, I was going to say cards like Toramaru, where you just instantly dump a endgame boss monster on the field for essentially RNGing the top 3 cards of your deck, but then we lost on the last hit, so we didn't get the, we didn't actually get to play Kiramaru, which, you know, that's fine, because we still break all 5 shields. I don't know if this Polka has any bounces. Probably not. But then Yusei also puts in all of her cards tapped, so even if she had a blocker wouldn't do anything, and we're good. That being said, I do think that maybe having payoffs like Toramaru and Kiramaru and whatnot is a little bit too extreme, but again, it's just sort of in the nature of Duel Masters. This game is just all about insane top end. What the hell is this backdrop? Yeah, we're just gonna skip the story, mostly because I can't read most of it, and go into Polka's legend battle. Before we read the legend skill, we need to win with... We need to mana charge 10 times. I don't know if mana charging with card effects counts. Polka no eragan so itai ijo hakaishite. So we need to destroy 1 copy of Polka's Hungry Elegance and win within 10 turns. Seems easy enough, but what's her legend skill? At the beginning of Polka's turn, wait. At the beginning of Polka's turn, Polka no, is it Saidai? Saitai mana ga hachi ijo nara game soto kara Hungry Elegance itai. So at the beginning of Polka's turn, if she has 8 or more mana, just summon Hungry Elegance from outside the game. That's fine. And at the end of our turn, Jibun to aita no Yamafura no ue kara ichimai me o mana zone ni oku. So both players mana charge at the end of my turn. Does that count towards the 10 mana charges for this mission? We'll switch to this deck since this is a ramp deck anyway, and hopefully that does actually count, because I don't want to do this multiple times, and I would like to just cap out the points on episode 2 like we capped out the points on episode 1, and not have to do excessive grinding later. That would be very nice. But yeah, speaking of Bushiroad games and whatnot, at the end of this month, there is a Schwartz event coming up that, legend skill active. But yeah, there is a Schwartz event coming up at the, it's both turns, huh? There's a Schwartz event coming up. I'll be playing in that. I don't really know what I could do content-wise about that, if anything. Maybe just like a tournament report thing, but, you know, it's... I don't know. I do need to experiment with some more scripted video stuff. It's been a while since I've even done one. I had said at one point that I wanted to do one every month this year, but, you know, as we mentioned earlier, things just kind of became very hectic, and it was difficult to do that. I sure hope that this all counts, by the way. But yeah, who's a what's it? So maybe we'll be able to do something in that regard, get something going, with like a scripted video on the tournament, like a tournament report, stuff like that. The problem with that is it does run a pretty big risk of exposing myself, which is, you know, not very ideal. Learning Vice time with Yuki. I mean, I really like Vice Schwartz. There's just not very many opportunities to do things with it, I think. Because, you know, there's no online version of the game. I also don't really know what I could do with it, I suppose. Why did that not destroy? Whatever, I'll just play Wilhelm, and it'll be fine. Yeah, I don't really know what I could do, in regards to Vice Schwartz stuff, aside from, you know, like I said, tournament report, but again, like, that does run the risk of potentially exposing the real what was that? 相手のクリーチャーがバトルゾーンに出たとき、自分のシールドをすべて見て、その中から進化でないデーモンコマンド1体をバトルゾーンに出してもよい。So she looked at all 5 of her shields, and there was not a single demon command in them. Is that what I'm led to believe here? Because if so, that's incredibly unfortunate. But hey, maybe that wasn't the best idea to play N-World. Then again, she could potentially just deck herself out. That would be really great. But we did give her 21 mana. That's a bit scary. Shield trigger? Not... It only destroys psychics? Oh, that's probably right. Okay, shield trigger? No shield triggers. And we're dead. All we needed to do was survive one more turn. Oh well. Yeah, the most I've done with Vice Schwartz has really just been mentioning it offhand in the scripted videos I have done, which, you know, is fine, but I don't really know what I could... Well, I do have ideas of what I could do with Vice Schwartz related stuff, it's just I don't really have enough knowledge or information for the things that I would want to do, which runs the risk of just sounding like pseudo-intellectual, which, you know, that's perfectly fine. But, you know, I would have to really sit down and think about it, you know? And there's a whole lot of other things on the mind at the moment as far as that goes. But scripted videos definitely need to make a comeback. I just don't know how to fit that in. Ooh, excuse me. Fit that into the quote-unquote schedule. There really are just not enough hours in the day, you know? Streaming, editing, writing, working, sleeping, like, where's the time for it all, you know? Which then, that feeds back into the whole thing about habits, is you know, there is a way to get these things done. It would just be to get hopped up on energy drinks and supplements and stuff like that, and get like 2 hours of sleep or whatever most days, and all that jazz, and then, you know, things will get done. But that's not good. I don't want you coming out from a Hungry Elegance. I really do hope that the Legend skill and all these ramp effects count for this Mana Charge 10 mission, because we'll definitely be Mana Charging 10. Also, why is codename Sherlock 23,000 power? And hexproof. Psychic creature battle zone ni dasanai. Aita wa kono creature arabenai. Like, what am I actually supposed to do about Sherlock? Am I just supposed to hope that I don't die and somehow turbo into Vainglory? Is that what they intend for me to do? Well, I guess Kiramaru's an option. You know, just flood the board with cards. That'll work. Oh wait. Obviously, we can't play psychic creatures. So yeah, what are we supposed to do here? And it's a Quattro Breaker, like, this... there we go. This seems ridiculous. And it's so... wow, that's a lot of ramp. It seems like once Sherlock comes down, you just kinda hope and pray. And I don't think we have anything that can remove it either, because everything that we have targets, so we can't get around Sherlock's hexproof. I don't think you need to burn yourself over making content, but I never had the script right. I wouldn't... well, I mean, it's not really burning out, I would say. It's more so just... well, I guess you could look at it that way. Is that you know, there are things I want to do. And so by not doing them, it's like, you know, why aren't you doing them, basically? You know, just do it. And I think the biggest issue is that if I don't actually write scripts, because, like, I'll have the ideas, and it's like, okay, yeah, I can spin this into something, it would just need a little bit of polish. So if you... are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? 5 Gachinko judges, and we won 1 of them. That's insane. Wonder if there's any way to spin. I thought Dueno was dead and found it. Yeah, probably. Like, that is, sort of an idea that I did have at one point. It was basically going to be, something along the lines of, like, I was going to do it for the Master Duel Anniversary, is what it was going to be. Are you kidding me? Come on! It was basically going to be a whole thing about how Master Duel is disappointing, and here's, like, all these things that could have made Master Duel better, etc., etc. Compare it to different online card games, stuff like that. But obviously, Master Duel's Anniversary was in January, which was at the very end of my classes and whatnot, so I was dealing with... what? Why did Polka just wipe her whole board? And secondary question... can I get around Mozart? I mean, I guess I can wait out a turn, right? But... well, I guess I could also... wait. Aita no dragon wa kougeki dekinai. Okay, there's nothing that stops me from playing dragons. So I can just destroy Mozart with Wilhelm. Good. That was almost a problem. And then we just swing for game. But yeah, Master Duel's anniversary was in January, so I was very busy with end of classes, preparation to come back home, graduation, whatnot, so I didn't really have a lot of time to work on things there. And we got all the missions done, good. But yeah, the idea was basically just Master Duel is a year old, but it's still very disappointing. Here's how Master Duel could have been done better. Here's how... here's things that other digital card games are doing well, which I don't play that many digital card games, so it would have been a little bit difficult to really, I guess, gauge. And, you know, I can probably still do something in that vein, but it would just come off as very shilly, which I don't have a problem with coming off as shilly, because I do genuinely enjoy Duel Masters more than Yu-Gi-Oh! And have, even when I was a kid. I was also sort of brainstorming something with regards to the Kaijudo code. That could be like a little short thing about just card game mindset and whatnot, and following the Kaijudo code in your life or whatever. But that goes back to what I was saying before, is that there are all these ideas just sort of floating around, but then the issue becomes, it needs some polish to actually, you know, come into fruition. So it would make me... Hot alien princesses are doing what with the Red Dragon Command? Yeah, it's, you know, if it needs polish, then I would need to sit down and actually write the script, but then, what's it called? I don't have the time really to do that, so I end up not doing it. That's annoying. I end up not doing it, and then if I don't sit down and put at least something to paper right away, then I'll end up forgetting, or like, I won't forget like the whole thing, because I'll like draft like significant portion of what the theoretical video would have been, so the basic concept will still be in my head, but if I don't write down everything I'm thinking right away, even if it's not properly organized and whatnot, I'll forget it. Then when I actually do decide to sit down and try and put things together, it's like, oh, I had a segue here for this topic, or I had a point that I wanted to make here, but it'll just have slipped by because the moment is gone. Come on! I mean, I get it. It is kind of a lot to ask for to hit all three on the Gachinko Judge, but the odds are overwhelmingly in our favor to actually hit 3. But yeah, the main issue really is that the ideas are there, the time isn't. And I don't really know how to reconcile that, I guess. I mean, I've had some ideas towards that as well, right? I have considered getting like a keyboard for my smartphone, so at the very least, I'd be able to... Does she have a block? Okay. Codename Sherlock is not a blocker, so that's fine. I've considered getting like a Bluetooth keyboard so I can use my smartphone and type out scripts when it's particularly slow at work, because, you know, I don't know if you've ever tried to type something on a touchscreen, something that is, you know, significant in length, but it's not fun. So a Bluetooth keyboard would somewhat help with the issue. Who's this guy? Jad? I get the feeling that this is a character from story mode that we haven't met because I haven't done all of story mode. Something tells me that this is the leader of Team Jammer, because, you know, his name is Jad. But we're just gonna ignore all of that and go into the battles with Peko Peko. And also, I need to take the sip because my throat is getting very, very dry. I would like to actually grab my cup and not this empty bottle of soda. There we are. But yeah, so there is that. I did also consider at one point using a laptop to do video editing as well as scripting when it's slow at work. But the issue with that was the laptop that I have is not in working condition. I mean, it turns on and it does technically work, but it's not really in a condition to where I could use it for... I wouldn't even say that something like that is intensive, but it's not something that I would be able to do with that current laptop, which would then require me to buy a new laptop specifically for this edge case, and that's not exactly practical. I want to see a bad edit like, oh my wa Okairi, go to the polls. God, that sounds awful, and nobody would get that because it's transcending two different languages for that meme. But who knows? Maybe that edit just pops off and does numbers. The internet is an enigma, and just anything can work, you know? Okay, Kiramaru, Prin, hit a Prin. Unfortunate. But we can go for Ryusei, at least. This will break all 5 shields, barring a shield trigger. Like that. God. It feels so proper to hear the Pecora laugh. That's what it's all about. That's why we're in this business, is... Oh, there you are, Prin. Yeah, it just feels right to hear the Pecco laugh. But... yeah, it wouldn't be worth the expense to buy an entire new laptop for this edge case, right? Because, you know, I have my setup. I don't really need I don't particularly need a laptop for, like, everyday use or whatever, and I'm very rarely in a need for a laptop otherwise. It's really just sort of, I guess you could say, an intrusive thought. I think the Bluetooth keyboard is a little bit more practical and actually useful of a prospect, because then it would be a little bit difficult to use a Bluetooth keyboard on the train, I would think. I mean, obviously you can do it, and hell, people even use their laptops on the train, but as long as my commute is, I don't think my commute is actually long enough for me to get anything productive done on that front. Like, maybe script writing, which, if all I'm doing is script writing, then again, the keyboard is just more practical, as opposed to getting the full laptop. Is Shield Trigger Pick Hololive the ultimate BG? Yeah, kind of. Well, I wouldn't want to go to a Starbucks, is the thing. Because if I have the free time to where I could be sitting in a Starbucks, why would I not just go home to my desktop, you know? But yeah, and also I'm pretty sure that my home internet would be better than trying to use Starbucks Wi-Fi for anything that would require me to have an online connection, especially if it comes to the video editing, because a lot of my, I guess you could say, process, a lot of that process involves either doing research online to, you know, make sure I'm fact-checking myself so I don't say something blatantly wrong, and another part of it is looking up how to do things in the editing program, because every now and then there'll be something that I want to do but don't know how to do, so I need to look it up. And then as far as the actual editing process itself goes, then there's using the internet to grab visual aids, since it is a video, and I only have so much to actually make the video portion of the video with. You can also take the laptop into the bathroom to play Duema. Well, no, but what are these Gachiko judge rolls, by the way? Like, did you see that? That was ridiculous. At least Kiramaru has Speed Attacker, so we can make up for that just absolute garbage roll. Nice. I just need to learn how to manage my time better, I suppose. Which I guess that would also involve developing an actual proper stream schedule, because then I could look at it and say, okay, I'll stream on these days and I'll do offline work on these days. But without a consistent schedule, it's just kind of work on what you want to work on when you want to work on it, which, you know, it's good for avoiding burnout and whatnot, but it's not good for actually getting anything done, because as you can see, nothing's getting done. I mean, the streams get done, of course, but then what do you do after that? Like, I'm also not even really getting highlights edited. Like, hell, for this whole collab thing, I do have ideas for what I would edit into highlights, but I haven't even started started on doing that. All I did was I actually just straight up uploaded the full VOD onto YouTube, which I guess that is always available to check out, so whenever the Twitch VOD expires, that'll always be up to, I guess, document the collab happening. And like I said, there are ideas I have for what I want to do in that regard. I just haven't had the time to actually sit down and start on that, especially considering that there's other things from before that I have to work on. Thinking about it, Peko emote is the super friendly version of that Shikawa emote from the Shadowba collab. Yeah, I guess that is a good way to look at it. And they are both rabbits. Maybe it just has something to do with rabbits. Oh, that's... Speaking of BM, that's BM. Yeah, maybe it just has to do with rabbits. But yeah, there's... Oh, for fuck's sake. Royal Straight Flush Kaiser. I probably wanted to keep that, but hey. What was I saying? Right. There are other things that from before the collab in this game. Dude, this is ridiculous. Can I keep cards on the field? Like, at all? But yeah. There were things from before the collab that still need to be worked on from, like, months ago at this point. Like, I never finished editing the JLPT story time from the Pokemon playthrough. I have thought about, what's it called? I've thought about, just doing that story time again, either like as a scripted thing, or maybe just tell the story on a different stream. Okay, I guess I'm just not allowed to have a field in this game. And like I said, the other thing is visual aid, since these are supposed to be, you know, videos, is something that I kind of need to do, and is something that I can do passively, is that I want to just collect essentially B-roll footage for the different online card games and whatnot, so that when I do the just sort of rant, excuse me, when I do the rant videos or whatever, I can just have gameplay footage going on in the background as like the visual stimulation, when I don't need something specific to be on the screen to be used as an example, which is kind of how a lot of like gaming channels work, is that they just have some kind of footage going on as they're talking about the game. And I have recorded a few like clips here and there of different things that can be used as footage. I think the big issue really is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters, yeah, like basically. But the issue with that, I think, is even with all the effects and stuff that you have in these digital card games, they're not super visually stimulating, so it may not exactly be the most eye-catching, I guess. I don't know, it's a weird sort of situation in general, really. Which, honestly, that's another another thing that I would consider a failing of Master Duel is that at the very least, games like Duema and Shadowverse and Pokemon TCG have some kind of visual effects going on that are, you know, they're not super flashy all the time, but it's flashy enough to be eye-catching or engaging when you see them. Master Duel's animations that are there are very minimal and not really all that eye-catching. And while I do think Master Duel looks good, something about its presentation just doesn't sit right. Check the monozone first. We'll charge Kaiser Baki. Like, something about Master Duel's presentation just doesn't sit right. I'm thinking of CSGO Surf while the model is shuffling a deck. That would be fitting, I suppose. But yet, something just feels off about Master Duel's presentation in comparison to other digital card games. And really, well, as long as we win 2, we still get a second try. There we go. I think really what sort of cemented that is picking up Duema and realizing, like, so the top 3 card games in Japan's paper market are Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and Duema. And all 3 of them have digital equivalents, right? Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? We lost 3 in a row? That's insane. But yeah, all 3 of them have digital equivalents, and so what really drove home the point to me of Master Duel's presentation being so lacking is that Pokemon and Duema both have, you know, they have an avatar customization feature. And many years back, in the mid 2000s or whatever, when the internet was still in its, like, early stages, right? Konami had Yu-Gi-Oh! Online, which was their first attempt at a Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulator, basically. Are you, like, really with this game? But, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Online had an avatar creation feature, and I feel Master Duel not having that feature is a big part of why it feels so lacking, especially considering its main 2 competitors also have that feature. And sure, Master Duel has the mates and whatnot, but it's not as if having the mates, like, precludes them having the customizable player avatar. And the game doesn't even have emotes either, which is another thing. Like, you don't really see people use the emotes too much in Duema, in my experience, especially not in comparison to, say, Pokemon and Shadowverse. But the emotes are there and we can use them, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have anything. Like, and it really just sort of drives home the other point about Yu-Gi-Oh! Being so sterile and safe of a card game compared to all the others, is that Konami wants their online simulator to be so safe and sterile that it doesn't even have something as basic and harmless as emotes. And you know, they're really not doing as much with Master Duel as they could as far as monetization. Like, it's kind of insane, actually, how little Master Duel incentivizes you to spend money on it as a mobile game, which, you know, some would probably consider that to be a good thing, and it is. Like, you shouldn't feel like you are compelled to spend money on the game, but you would expect them to at least give you some kind of incentive to do so. But Master Duel just, like, it offers no cosmetics, really. They add, like, 2 cosmetics every 3 months. The only real thing that there is to spend money on is getting gems to roll on more packs, but which I guess, given Yu-Gi-Oh! Or given Master Duel's rarity system and things like that, I guess that in itself is incentive enough, but it just seems so strange, you know, that they made this mobile game with essentially no incentive at all for you to use the microtransaction feature. It feels like outside of Tag Force, they leaned on retelling Yugi's story instead of you being in an insert, which leads you into look, it's DM or Blue Eyes. I guess to an extent, yeah, right? There's not really, there's not really a feeling of being in a story, right? It's just, you are the kid playing the card game. Like you said, it's Yugi's story. That's so lame. I kind of have to play Prin Prin. And this doesn't really do anything for me. I'm pretty much just banking on Pecora not playing anything too damaging. Like that. God, this... I guess it makes sense that Pecora's fight would be the most annoying one to deal with. After, you know, the Peko laugh. For as much as, you know, I love the Peko laugh, it just adds up for her character. I don't know. It's weird. Not the Peko laugh. The whole Master Duel situation. Of course. See, this always happens, is that if they have any form of shield burn, then all of a sudden I have a million shield triggers. But if they don't have shield burn, I just have no access to shield triggers whatsoever. And now I don't even have copies of Hibana. So I'm just going to die to the next turn play, because even if I have a shield trigger, Bometheus has shield burn. And of course I can't get a field because she never bricks on her copies of Akagi Garu. I love this game. Thanks for that. Actually, hold on. Maybe there's a chance here? Well, there would have been a chance if I still had a human on board to evolve into Toramaru. That's fantastic. What was I saying? Wow, and a whiff. Fantastic. I love this. Yeah, Master Duel just seems weird as a game. And oh, No, actually, this is not going to do anything for me. Hey there, Owry, how are you doing tonight? Up here in Canada, we have a law that's regulates things such as Hulu, Netflix, and Spotify. How does that work? Like, what exactly does regulation for streaming services even mean? Although I suppose that does somewhat tie into what we're talking about here. With Master Duel being bad. Of course, before we move on to that, or continue with that, hold on. Turn off that 60 FPS, yeah. My throat feels really sore, and I don't know what that's about. It might just be allergy season, although I don't think that typically allergies would cause sore throat, but my throat's been feeling kind of sore recently, so I guess that is partially, at least, why we need to be taking so many sippies, more so than usual. Or maybe I am just actually dehydrated. That's also an option. But I feel I haven't been drinking as much water as I should be or used to. Because, again, the weird schedule and whatnot means that I've been, like, sleeping at weird times and whatnot. And so as a consequence of that, you know, if I'm asleep, I'm not, drinking water. We'll take Hibana. Yeah, I don't know what that, like, regulation is all about, but, it is, I mean, if it's restricting Twitch or whatever, then, that's bad, but, hopefully that works out. I don't know anything about Canada and law or any of that, so not really all that much I can say on. Come on! And, well, hold on. Since I revealed Prin off of Gachinko Judge, I can play Royal Straight Flush Kaiser and still untap Toramaru. Hold on. Then I can attack with Royal Straight Flush Kaiser, and if we win 3 times, that breaks all 3 shields, and then Kaiser deals the finishing blow? Unless Abaki... Yeah, that does work. And we got speedrun tech in our online card game. We skipped Pecora's losing emote because we dealt the finishing blow while she was doing her taunt. Which, I guess that's something we can just do. Maybe I should just put more Royal Straight Flush Kaiser in the deck. Because it gives us another thing to summon if we only hit 2 on the Gachinko Judge. I've been watching videos about events and aesthetics, mostly 90s and aughts, with book fairs, school catalogs. So just a nostalgia trip. Oh, speaking of nostalgia trips, like, again, going back to this whole thing with Master Duel and all of that, like, it's so weird that Konami already had an online simulator once. They did Yu-Gi-Oh! Online way back when, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Online had the custom avatar creator. So it seems so weird that Master Duel is sterile to the point of not having that, and just in general, okay, this has Speed Attacker, so I might want to hold on to that. Not having the avatar creator, not having even emotes, like, it's just so strange to me, and I think it's playing Duema and seeing the avatar creator alongside player skins like Shadowverse has is what made me realize, like, oh, Master Duel is, like, because Master Duel has been out for a year now, almost a year and a half, and it still feels like the game is in beta. Which, you know, I guess given Pokemon TCG Live is... I'm gonna go for Prin here. Given Pokemon TCG Live is still in beta, and they did just announce that the beta is ending, the full version is releasing next month, which fucking... Oh, okay, Prin. Nice. Hold on, there's hope here. I remembered a lot of it, like the Scholastic Book Fairs, Computer Lab. There's something about the old Y2K aesthetic. Yeah. In the future, everything is Chrome. I mean, we could still be heading there. Who knows? You know, they didn't say how far into the future the Chrome was. I think, actually, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection had a whole thing about that, where I think an interviewer asked the director of Battle Network some questions about the game or whatever, and one of the questions was, were they surprised about how the world of today is so similar to the Battle Network world? And the director said it's not really all that surprising, because the entire idea behind Battle Network was that it took place in a future that was close by. It's supposed to be set in the near future, so that the events of the game are something that could realistically happen in the 2020s. And here we are in the 2020s, and Battle Network is coming true. Wait. No, this wasn't the Legend Battle. Okay. And yeah, like, I remember at the very beginning of the pandemic, that was a big thing, is that people were posting screenshots of the classrooms in Battle Network with the desks spaced apart from each other and saying Battle Network predicted social distancing and whatnot. So, you know, a little bit on the nose there about something that could happen in the near future. Okay, what do we have to do here? Destroy 3 of Pecora's dragons. Play 5 spell cards. And it's always win within 10 turns. Pecora's legend skill, either turn, the first time Pecora's shield is the first time Pecora's shield is broken, from outside of the game, activate Hogan Blaster. At the start of the player's turn, Pecora's creature cost, something, 10 or higher. Oh, if the total cost of Pecora's creatures is 10 or higher, from outside of the game, activate Demon Hand. So the hard part of this is going to be activating 5 spells. Well, I suppose the hard part of it is also destroying 3 of Pecora's dragons. Because we don't really run, you know, destruction removal. I guess we do have Demon Hand. And we get to play Demon Hand from outside the game, so that'll help. The urban RPG that talks about the internet? You mean Soul Hackers 2? Remember that? Which, you know, we keep cycling back to the Yu-Gi-Oh topic, because, God, Master Duel is just so awful. But it does make me wish Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains wasn't a train wreck, because the concept of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game set in the modern internet world is something that was really interesting and could have actually gone somewhere, but it didn't because that show was garbage. Like, even, honestly, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains happened too early. Because, think about it, right? Vrains started in 2017. Link Era started in 2017. This was right, like, literally the same year that Niji Sanji and Hololive were starting up. I think Kizuna Ai first showed up in, was it 2016, 2015? I remember when Kizuna Ai first showed up, and, you know, the world learned of, I have to take, well, no, I have to take Ryusei Whole because I need to activate it, but I also need the mana to be able to activate it anyway. But yeah, Kizuna Ai was only like a year, 2 years out at the time. The term VTuber had just been coined. 2017, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains starts. Hollow and Niji were both just, you know, starting up and whatnot. If Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains had come just a couple of years later, where the concept of VTubing had become more widespread, you know, not to the same level that it is now, of course, but even if it was just to how things were in, let's say 2019, yeah, like 2019, what you call it, what am I gonna summon here? Probably, no, Bagoon. Yeah, if it was 2019, right? VTubers are mainstream in Japan. They haven't yet reached mainstream notoriety in the Western world, but they will soon be approaching. It's at the time where it would be ripe for parody and whatnot. You could have had a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series that was basically just about a lot of those concepts, right? And you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains does touch on it a little bit. Like, the main characters do have, like, their sort of secret identities, right? Yusaku is trying to hide from everyone that he's Playmaker. Revolver is not known by anyone to be the son of Dr. Kogami, etc., etc. Like, all the characters in Brains have their online persona and their real life persona, but aside from some remarks here and there about trying to hide Playmaker's identity or whatever, the series doesn't really do anything with that concept or that dynamic. It's just sort of there, like, in the background, essentially, and doesn't really have any bearing on anything that happens in the show's plot or whatever. And that whole idea of the dual persona and whatnot, perfect for fitting in with, like, you know, the internet landscape after the pandemic and whatnot. You know, VTubing would blow up worldwide. You would have more people. I mean, even then, like, internet creators have always existed with essentially a what's the word that I'm looking for here? A persona, an online persona and the real persona, right? And Pacora's gonna deck herself out. She only has 2 cards left in deck. But, hell, she only has 7 cards in grave, too. But yeah, it's, there was a lot of potential in that show that it could have been realized if it just came a little bit later. Which, the fact that we would end up getting Live Twin as a deck in 2020 just proves, and we can't win this now because Pecora only has 2 cards in deck, so she's going to reveal Mozart on these. God, that sucks. And yeah, and that doesn't count as a summon either. So that means we can't use Kiramaru. That's kind of lame. But I'm going to play Kiramaru anyway. And then we just kind of end turn, right? And Pecora decks herself out with May. I was not expecting that to be how the Legend battle would go, but I'll take it. We did not achieve the mission of destroying 3 of her dragons, however, because she just didn't play another dragon because she kept mana charging them with May. But hey, we defeated Pecora nonetheless, I suppose. We still do have a little over 1,000 points to go on the event. We're 100 points away from the promo, and then we'll just do this one more time and hopefully actually get to destroy the dragons, because then that'll hit us to the point threshold, and we'll just be done with the Legend battle. But I got 30 pings in a server I'm in. Discord likes to do that thing where it resets your notifications for no reason and decides, oh, actually you set the notification settings for this server to be ping you for every single message. I've had that happen a couple of times with some servers I'm in for different bots and whatnot. Turns out it was suspect spam, or that. It could be that too. Where it's like, oh yeah, there's a scammer or a phishing scheme going around, and they're just hitting everybody with the @everyone. Nice. But yeah, the fact that we would end up getting Live Twin as a deck in 2020 just proves that Konami, you know, they were there. They saw the angle for a VTuber based thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! In some capacity. So if Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, which is basically all about Yu-Gi-Oh! And internet life, had just come a couple years later, we could have had an actual interesting series off of that. And, you know, to some degree, the character of Blue Angel does fit that sort of fit that whole idea, right? That's annoying. Blue Angel's whole thing is that she's an idol with, or a virtual idol with a secret offline identity. Even the early episodes of the series have some minor tension about Yusaku and Aoi. Like, they know each other in the real world, and Playmaker and Blue Angel know each other in the digital world, but Aoi doesn't know that Yusaku is Playmaker, but Yusaku knows that she is Blue Angel, and that doesn't really go anywhere. In fact, I think at the end of the series, like, she still doesn't actually know, and I don't think they even hint at her knowing either. And you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, you know, it's just a shonen anime, right? It's a series for dumb kids to convince them to buy Konami's cards. They were just under ambitious with her. Well, that's sort of the whole, like, the whole MO of Vrains, essentially, is the series not really living up to any of the potential that its concept put forward, which I guess you could say that Arc 5 before it also didn't. Are you kidding me? Arc 5 before it also didn't really utilize the potential that it had, but I feel with Vrains, like, the concept was so inherently interesting that it feels more disappointing that they didn't do anything with it. But I forgot where I was going with that whole thing. I was going somewhere with this tangent about Blue Angel and whatnot. I'm sure it'll come back to me at some point. Oh, are you kidding me, Usada Picora? So is she just not going to play dragons now? Gachinko Joker. She... What, does she just... Well, that's actually... Well, it doesn't do anything for me because I've already hit the... I've already achieved the mission for that. She had triple Wilhelm in her hand. All she needed to do was play the Wilhelm. Or rather, yeah. She just had to mana charge Wilhelm and then play Wilhelm. Also, I'm pretty sure Bagoon isn't supposed to activate if I have 10 or less cards in my deck, because everything else has that restriction on it. Duema has a weird AI habit where if it can't get over your board, it just passes. Well, I mean... If she mana charged the Wilhelm, she would have been able to get over the board, because that would have given her the fire mana to play another Wilhelm. And then she could use the Wilhelm to destroy things. Like, she's explicitly not playing cards when... Like, it's only for the mission that we haven't completed, you know? Like, we have the play 5 spells, we have the win in 10 turns, we always have win in 10 turns. Well, we don't right now because we spent so much time, passing for her to actually put dragons on the board. Like, she's specifically not allowing us to achieve the destroy 3 dragons mission, when all she had to do was mana charge 1 Wilhelm, then play Wilhelm on the next turn. So, if you need them to do stuff to interact with the... Yeah. I was talking to a new friend lately on Twitch, talking about cooking, and they said they burnt their rice. Were you in the chat for onigiri? Because if you want to know how, I think she could explain just how that happens. Okay, hold on. Hogan Blaster. That put a dragon on board for us to kill. That's 2. Is this the strat then? We need to break Pekko's shield so she plays Hogan Blaster and then summons dragons that way? Is that what we're doing? Because, I mean, I'll take it if that's what we have to do, as long as it gets the mission done. But, you know, that is annoying, but if it works, it works. So, Hogan Blaster. There's Wilhelm. She's gonna destroy Onimaru, right? Or she's gonna hit DNA Spark. And yes, she did destroy Onimaru. Maybe I should have attacked with Onimaru for the extra turn, just in case. Not that it really matters all that much. Well, us not having... Well, no. I just play Demon Hand and destroy the Wilhelm. And hope that I win this turn, because I'm going to deck out if I don't. Okay, Hogan Blaster, Wilhelm. We have more than enough attackers. And now we win the game. There we go. What is with people and burning their rice? Because they don't use rice cookers. You can't burn your rice in a rice cooker. Okay, there we go. We've completed the legend battle. Now we can move on to suffering at the Tower of Trials. The ending is not available until the next 5 hours. We don't really care about that because we skipped all the story. And we get to claim a lot of goodies. A lot of goodies. Speaking of which, ooh, achievement. There we go. Is that an achievement for decking out the opponent? I think so. So we'll collect that. And we no longer need these event tickets because we're done with the legend battle. But I will take the titles. Very nice. And, of course, claim all of our goods from the chest. So now we have all the copies of Link of the Beyond. And now we can move on to the NPC battles in the Tower of Trials. This is going to be fun. We'll go back to the gacha deck for this. But yeah, buy a rice cooker. You can't possibly burn rice if you're using a rice cooker. It just won't happen. I don't know what that card does, but it has Shinka in its name, and the artwork shows like the evolution symbol. So I'm assuming it has something to do with evolution. Whatever. What were we talking about before? I kind of got lost. Speaking of getting lost, the game is losing its frames. Well, not frames, but this game doesn't work sometimes. I feel a lot of these online TCG games have issues with memory leaking, and I don't know why. Freaking... Is that just another thing that they took from Shadowverse, is memory leaking? Of all the things that you could copy from Shadowverse, why that one? You're talking about away from brains. Right, okay. So, also, what? Battle Zone ni data toki, jibun no hoka no, Arc Seraphim ga areba, aita no creature itai o tap shite mo yoi. That's fun. I feel like I say that's fun a lot. So that's gonna go on the tally. Like, Vrains just has a whole lot of potential with the story and premise that it presents, and it just doesn't use any of it. And I think what I was saying about that was it presents like the basic concept of the whole like dual persona thing that would become very big once VTubers blew up around the world, but because it happened just a couple of years too early for that, it didn't really get the opportunity. And then, of course, you know, Vrains had its whole thing with... Are you kidding me? Vrains had that whole thing with its production issues, where... Like, maybe that is something that they wanted to touch on in the series, but they just were not able to because of the production issues sort of forcing the project to go off the rails, essentially. Because, like, Vrains is not good. And you know, there's probably an argument to be made that none of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime are good because they're just merchandise-driven shonen. But, you know, being merchandise-driven shonen doesn't mean that it has to be... What am I... Shinka moto ni naru creature... Oh, I revealed Toramaru, so I need to evolve into another Toramaru. Well, I guess revealing Prin works. Lost the Gachinko Judge on that one. Untap. Tap. This deck is very, very weird. Things just kind of happen, and you have very little control over it. It is the purest definition of gacha. And we'll play a Prin and do it all over again. Untap. That's fun. It's never fun. I mean, it's fun a lot of the time. Shield trigger. And Eternal Omega on Kiramaru. Also, I feel the shield trigger thing should probably be up on both of the counters, right? We've had some instances of shield triggers in those NPC games. But I don't know. I don't really know if there's anything more that I can say in regards to the Vrains thing. It's just... oh, I was saying... You know, you could make the argument that Yu-Gi-Oh! In general isn't really good because it's just merchandise-driven shonen or whatever, but just because it's a merchandise-driven shonen doesn't mean it has to be bad. And even in spite of that, that quality of the series, or the franchise rather, there have been decent enough stories that were told in the other Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, sure, all of them have some potential that they could have lived up to that they didn't, or loose ends that could have been tied up. Like, any story in general is going to have things like that, or leave people wanting more, which even leaving the audience wanting more is not a bad thing in itself, but Vrains just... it really suffered from all of its production issues, and there's never... Ooh. Man, I really need to invest in that desk, cause I just basically jammed my knee into the cord of my headphones and almost knocked over my entire desktop. So that's great. Recently watching friend streams where they're playing Splatoon, I became... how'd you manage that one? Like, why is your Splatoon name Astolfo? Also, I haven't played Splatoon 3 in a while. And the Splatfest starts tomorrow. I kind of don't know if I want to play in the Splatfest, because I don't really care about Zelda all that much, really. Also, I probably should have kept Royal Straight Flush Kaiser, but I kind of needed to monocharge a mono-colored card, and I unfortunately ended up drawing Forever Princess. whatever, it'll work out in the end. If I do end up playing in the Zelda Splatfest, I'm picking Team Power, but I don't know. It sort of goes back to what we were talking about earlier about time and whatnot, is, because, you know, now that I'm in America again, the time zone for things in Splatoon is kind of off. So, because, like, Splatoon 3 is more or less built on Japan time. So, it was set to begin at 9 AM in Japan time on Saturday, and so it would run Saturday and Sunday and all that jazz. But now that I'm in, oh god, we're gonna have 4 instances of Prin go off here, and unfortunately, it forces me to go through all of them. It forces me to go through all of them also with the terrible lag that this game experiences. But yeah, so now that I'm back in America, Splatfest begin on Friday nights, which is not really that much of a problem. Like, if anything, Friday night is a good time for something like that, but then I have work on Saturdays, so if I play too much on Friday, that's going to drain me for, you know, work the next day. I wouldn't have enough, I wouldn't have as much time to play as I would when I was in Japan, and it started in the morning. And then this time around, it's not too much of an issue, because I actually have Sunday off this week, so then I would be able to play for Tricolor on day 2, since day 2 would now start on Saturday night, and go into Sunday, so that wouldn't be an issue on that front. But then it's just, in the future, there's no guarantee that I would have Sundays off, so again, I wouldn't have as much time to play in Tricolor, because I would have to be ready for work and whatnot. Hell, even when I was in Japan, I had that issue a little bit, where there wasn't really that much time to engage with Splatfest because of getting various things done. A friend dared me to change my name. I mean, sure, if it, yeah, I'll monocharge Kaiser Baki. If that's how it is, that's how it is, but, I don't know. We'll go for the boat. But yeah, it's... Also, I haven't, like I said, I haven't played Splatoon. I basically have reached this state where I pretty much only play Splatoon when there's an event going on in Splatoon. So, like, a lot of the early parts of the Splatoon streams just end up being relearning and readjusting to the controls, and before we, like, well, I was never exactly good at Splatoon, but before we can actually do things, there's a lot of readjusting to the controls and my weapons and whatnot, because pretty much every time that I end up playing Splatoon, I'm out of practice with Splatoon, so we have to get back into practice, do warm-ups or whatever, and it's not really worth it, I think, to do... Oh, come on! At least I hit a Prin on the Gachinko Judge, so I still get to try this again. But yeah, I think I don't really have, because of my like sleep schedule and whatnot, I don't really have the time to do warm-ups before the Splatoon streams. I mean, I guess I could play a couple of games here and there while I'm setting up and whatnot, but it doesn't really feel productive, I guess, to do the warm-ups off camera when I could just do the warm-ups on camera, you know? And you know, I'm sure you guys enjoy seeing me flounder about in Splatoon and just suck at Turf War. But you know, we may play Splatoon. I don't know. Because like I said, the Splatfest is tomorrow. That's the other thing, is that because I'm always, or usually, busy doing something else during the week before the Splatfest, then I'm not leveling up my catalog, I'm not getting seashells, which also means that I'm not really contributing to the team that I'm on because I'm not collecting conch shells for the team. Not that it really matters all that much in the long run. Like, I do think, isn't Sneak Peek the worth the most points, or maybe Tricolor's worth the most points? I don't remember, but it does feel like I'm not contributing. And you know, L, that's actually just L from Death Note. Like, he's got the white t-shirt. The hair isn't right because you can have black hair in this game, but they made him have brown hair, and he has a hat for some reason. But that's just L from Death Note. I picked Team Power because unlimited power. Well, in that case, if we do end up playing in this Splatfest, we'll be on the same team this time around. So that'll be nice, at the very least. But yeah, it's like, Splatfests are supposed to be a casual thing, but you know, there is still that competitive aspect to it, and so even though it probably doesn't matter all that much in the long run, there is this feeling of, like, you know, I could be doing more for the team that I'm on, but because I'm not playing in the week leading up to the Splatfest, I'm not contributing towards the team's points, and all that jazz. Please don't let me just die here. No shield triggers. Shoot, I'm gonna have to crash just to not die. Twilight Princess Ganon Ocarina again have been favorite design. Oh right, I don't remember if I said it when I said I wasn't sure if I'd participate in the Splatfest, but I'm actually not that much of a Zelda fan to begin with, so that's another, like, at least in this specific case, that's a demotivator for playing, is because I don't really have much of a stake. 0 shield triggers, by the way. I don't really have much of a stake in the Splatfest itself, because it's, yeah, like I said, I'm not into Zelda, so it doesn't really, what's it? It's not really something that I would have an opinion on, you know? Okay. we won 3, so we're definitely playing... Well, I could play Onimaru. In fact, I think playing Onimaru is the right thing to do. Because we'll break 2 shields with Toramaru. Then Onimaru hopefully gives us an extra turn. And... please. And then we just win on the next turn. Okay, extra turn. And block. And I mean, the whole thing with like the Splatfests, right, is it's supposed to be about showing like your love for whatever thing that Splatfest is about, right? Something along those lines. And for me, it's like, well, like I said, there's no real personal stake in this because I'm not a Zelda fan. So it's really just a means to an end to play in this Splatfest, essentially. Because if the event is going on, you just play in it, right? And then even then, I guess because I'm playing so little of Splatoon, the multiplier that you get on the catalog XP from being a Splatfest weekend is something that I could use, I guess. Because, you know, if I'm not playing, I'm not grinding my catalog, so I'm missing out on a bunch of things. Although, obviously, with how little I have played, I'm not going to max out the catalog, more likely than not. The next season begins in June, right? So... one sec. Really wish that I could reach that mute button on the microphone. But, ooh, boss fight is next. Alright, here we go. Because I think Boss Fubuki in Tower of Trials has a different skill than Legend Battle Fubuki had. But, yeah, like, there's no way I'm going to max out the catalog before the next season starts, so I'm not going to get everything that's in it. Although they did add another multiplier for doing the catalog towards the end of the season, I think. Wait, that's not Fubuki. That's Sukonbu. What? That's not Fubuki, that's Sukonbu. Also, I love 3 of my 4 copies of Missile Buster being in my hand. Or Missile Burst, sorry. Don't you just love it when you don't have shield triggers in your deck that is very susceptible to aggro? And also the 2 Kiramaru in hand. That's a great one. Legend skill. Sukonbu's 3rd, 5th, and 7th turn from outside of the game. That is a just absolutely obscene amount of kanji. But this is really... Oh, come on. This is really dicey because the free summon opened them up to just evolve and start pushing at me. and I can't really do anything about this, especially since I need 2 more turns before I can get Toramaru going, because I didn't get Hibana. Shield trigger? Well, there's all of my Prin-Prins. And of course, because Sukonbu is going aggressive, I don't actually get value out of these Prin-Prins because there's no other cards to attack with when the Prin-Prins are coming down. At least I still have 1 more shield. Oh, wait. Right, I forgot. The free summon. And... no evolution creature? Okay, good. No evolution creature. Wait, no. This is a speed attacker. Speaking of Hibana... and we lose on the first boss fight. Annoying. But yeah, I think they added a multiplier for the catalog at the end of the season, but I think even with the multiplier, I wouldn't be able to max out the catalog unless I just did nothing but grind Splatoon for the next month. And also, I don't know if the multiplier for that and the multiplier for Splatfest stack with each other, which you would assume that they would, because if they're having a Splatfest at the end of the season, you know, people are probably going to want to play in it, so that would be the easiest way to get people a ton of XP. Whatever, we'll see. We'll probably play Splatoon. We'll probably do the Splatfest. Also, I did see that while the Splatfest is going on, there's an all-random Salmon Run rotation. I don't really like Salmon Run all that much, but that could be something interesting as well. So we could always take a detour, I guess, if we get bored of the Splatfest, right? I think we did that in one of the Splatfests, actually, is we played so much of the Splatfest, got burnt out, and said, okay, let's just do some Salmon Run for a bit. Same thing when Big Run happened. I think we took a break from Big Run to just do regular ranked battles or whatever. You know, you have to switch it up sometimes, you know? It's... you gotta shake it up, break up the monotony and all that. That's... come on. Just... you couldn't give it to me there, game. But yeah, you just gotta break up the monotony every now and then. Get a change of pace going. I say, knowing that I'm playing Duema for like the 2nd stream in a row, but you know, at least it's still, we had some variety, right? We did go back to Master Duel. We'll be having Splatoon. You know, there is still stuff going on. It's not just the same thing over and over. I think I would go insane doing the same thing over and over, as would most people. I genuinely don't know how people, I don't know how people do the whole, like, dedicating themselves to one specific game thing. I don't think I could ever be a single game streamer or content creator or whatever, which is also part of that whole, I guess, trying to find identity thing in regards to the scripted content and whatnot. Is and I've said this before, is that I don't want to only focus on Yu-Gi-Oh, but Yu-Gi-Oh's what I know the most about, so it's the easiest to talk about. And it's a weird position to be in, you know? Not wanting to pigeonhole yourself into one thing, but, you know, like, being like a single game creator obviously does work for people, but, you know, I don't think I would be able to do it, is what I'm getting at. I need to, like, switch it up, do different things, all that. Oh, right, we had Pokemon TCG Live also, so we're actually getting, like, obviously it's still card games, so it's all the same general subject, but at least it's not the same card game every time, right? Again, despite playing Duema twice in a row, I just really like Duema, and this collab is going on, so, you know, why not? And various things of that nature, I don't know. It's almost midnight. I think I've gotten to the point where brain is running at half capacity, and I don't really know the words that are coming out of my mouth anymore, which, I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not, I don't know. Point is there a point, actually? I don't know if there is. If there was a point in all of this, it's probably long since gotten lost. Because, as I said, half capacity, just kind of running with it right now, you know? It's just going. It's things just happen, words, and all that. I really don't want to monocharge Ryusei here, but also I feel like I don't have a choice. At the very least, playing the Hibana means if I get a... Never mind. I'm still going to need to monocharge. Luckily, it was something not all that useful. So now we have Prin to give us a second try if we whiff, which we shouldn't. And we have Kiramaru. Okay. Now, the thing about this that's weird is that we triggered a Prin and summon a Prin. So untap, tap, and then we swing a second time and hopefully win all three. Assuming... Okay, that's fine. Now we just need to win 3 times. Okay, one more. Just barely, like the actual skin of our teeth. But now we go Kiramaru and lose. Win. So here comes Forever Princess. and lose. I mean, I guess I can't complain, right? I at least got the effect off. I'm not sure how much. Of course, Demon Hand. Well, opponent saved by trigger. That'll definitely do it. This should probably be higher than it is, so I'm gonna put that at 3 because I'm almost certain that we've had that happen already. But what I was going to say was I'm not sure how much longer I'm actually going to go with this, because again, I do have work tomorrow, and also, like, I think I've just gotten very delirious. What was that? I think that was the second battle, right, in this streak? Yeah. So, we'll go until we reach the Sukonbu boss, and we'll end it after the boss. Win or lose, the boss will be the last thing we do tonight. And then I will organize my thoughts, which is a lie, because it's impossible to organize any of my thoughts. But I will start trying to set things up for the future, and hopefully, I mean, I guess technically this has been like regular streaming. We've gotten like at least 3 every week, right? So that's pretty much a quote-unquote schedule, but we don't actually have a proper schedule yet. And I do keep saying that we're gonna, or rather I am going to get things set up, like projects, whatever. I just need to find a way to be able to actually work on that, because I would like to work on that, because I feel I've been making a bunch of, like, not really promises, but I've been saying, talking about these grand ideas or whatever, and they just kind of go unfinished and all of that. So I do want to get this done, you know? Actually get something done, you know? And all of that. Maybe we call it before... Ooh, excuse me. Maybe we call it before the boss, so I don't just completely lose my mind. But I mean, after this, we have one more fight before the boss, right? And if things go according to plan, the game probably ends on this turn. Yeah, looks like it. Naturally... Oh, actually we do have a Kiramaru in hand, so that does work out. And then the Kiramaru does his Gachinko Judge, which we lose on the first one. There we go, Forever Princess. Kaiser Baki. And there we go. Actually, the other thing that sort of I've realized is that I really should be grinding more ranked in Duema than I am, because I didn't realize that ranked has alternate artwork cards as rewards. So because I didn't grind that much last season, I only have one copy of this alt art of Forever Princess, which I really would have liked to have that alternate artwork. And the one for this season doesn't really look all that good. Although that could just be liking Prin a lot. But now that I know that Ranked has alternate artwork cards as one of the rewards that you get at the end of the season, we should be doing more of that to at least guarantee 2 copies of the cards. Like how I got 2 copies of the collab cards for the Hololive stuff because we don't have enough vials or enough duel points to get all of them, or even 1 copy of the premium version. Like 8,000 points for 1 premium copy is kind of insane. Like I get it because the game is 3 years old now at this point, so they kind of expect the players to have been going for a while and have built up resources. Shadowverse is kind of the same with vials. Like, if you've been playing the game for long enough, vials should never be an issue for you. But, you know, if you're... They have to recognize, right, that a lot of new players come to games for collaborations, and new players aren't going to have the resources for those things. Which, I guess... you know, sucks to suck. You know, you shouldn't be throwing away your new player resources on something like that anyway. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of lame that the collab actually has things like that where, I mean, I guess Shadowverse is like that too, right? Is when they do a collab, if you're not playing in the first week of the collab, you miss out on cosmetics because you have to get them from the chest event, which only runs from 1 week. Then you miss out on other cosmetics if you don't play during the GP. Because that's what collabs are in these games, is just a way to drive up player engagement. But something just rubs me the wrong way about collab goods in the game that you can miss essentially through no fault of your own, right? Because, like, it's one thing if it's participation in the collab itself, like I said, doing the chest events, doing the GP. In this case, it would be doing the Legend Battle and Tower of Trials. Like, I get it, right? Like, that's something that you can control, so it's your fault if you miss them. But having to spend the resources that you need to obtain cards in order to get the... in order to, you know, get the collab goods feels scummy to me, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. But definitely I think there's probably a better way to have gone about that, I guess, is the way that I would look at it. Or like I said, at the very least, the premium version should give you the full set, right? It shouldn't be 8,000 per copy, especially considering that there's 12 cards, or not 12 cards, that there's, well, yeah, that there's 12 cards, because there's 3 different collab cards. So to expect you to pay 8,000 points 12 times when points aren't exactly that easy to come across to begin with does feel a bit scummy. Oh, come on. Prin off the top? No. Damn, we didn't even win twice on that one. This is going to blow. Romanoff, or Romanesque rather, and Quattro break, but we get the missiles going. So we get rid of Coco Rupia, win Gachinko Judge, get rid of Romanesque, and now we win this turn. We'll go Ryusei. And this should be the end. And then we have the boss after this. And that will be where we... Wow, we're getting really low rolls on these Gachinko judges, by the way. Which makes sense because all of our high-cost cards are in our hand, as happens often with this deck. Maybe we should add that to the tally. Like, Duema is weird, because it feels like the tally is sort of weighted towards specific decks. Which is something that I had going with the very, very early streams when I was still, like, heavily playing Shadowverse, was, like, we had a counter for invocations, but if we didn't play a deck with invocation in it, then there was never a chance for that to possibly tick up. And it feels like a lot of that is happening here with the Duema tallies. Like, this deck, we can't really get mana screwed in this deck because it's essentially mono fire. Same thing with that like improvised Zenith deck we made last time. It was mono nature, so we couldn't get mana screwed. And we can still get the shield trigger stuff. Like, it's not likely that we get saved by a shield trigger in this deck, because the only shield triggers that we have are, what is it? We have Prin and Missile Burst. So it's not super likely that we get saved by a shield trigger, and it's, well, the opponent getting saved by a shield trigger is always a possibility. Do I have Prin? I have Prin. So we'll take Forever Princess. What else do we have on there? Mirror matches are not gonna happen in this stream at all because we're only playing against NPCs. Speaking of Missile Burst, destroy this, Gachinko Judge, victory, and so we destroy this. Yeah, mirror matches can't happen because we're playing against NPCs, we're not on the ladder, so we're not going to see the same deck. Certainly not with this deck that we're playing. Like, maybe if we were playing the 4-color, if we were playing the 4-color deck, then maybe we could potentially see mirror matches against the NPCs, but then, since the NPCs have set decks, it would feel like it kind of cheapens that experience, because they're guaranteed to have it. And it doesn't really seem likely that we run into a Yu-Gi-Oh player moment again, because we're playing against NPCs, they're probably not going to have cards that need to be read. They're just going to be playing either things that aren't that important or things that I already know. So looking them or reading them won't be super necessary. We revealed the print off of that, right? Will that show up in the log? Yeah, it does show up in the log. So we revealed the print, which means we can summon Ryusei, because the print will untap instead of having to summon the one from hand. Then, if we only hit 2 on this one, we can play the... Or we could just hit 0. Okay, we hit 1, but hitting 1 doesn't do anything for us. So, that's an option. Do we win here? Okay, no last second shield trigger save. And that's the boss down. Grab some level up bonuses, then collab bonuses from all these points. And yeah, streak of 5. That's going to do it for now, I think. Is this... Oh, there it is, ranking. I mean, obviously, we're not going to be anywhere. Yeah, the... Number 1 is 94 wins, and then we have 2 tied at 65. That's... Well, we're definitely not anywhere near top 100. I forget what it... Reito Towa. What? What does that even mean? This is explaining a bunch of... Okay, I guess we can count that as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player moment, and that'll be the kicker for the end here. But I do genuinely have to wonder if people grind to that extent because they enjoy the game enough to do it, or if they feel obligated to do it. Because I can't imagine, especially considering this is an event that goes on until this collab ends, right? Yeah, so this ends on the 24th. It is currently the 5th. I can't imagine grinding this event for 20 days straight just to make sure that you keep your spot in the rankings for what? For some cosmetics, some rewards, whatever. Because you do get extra rewards for remaining in the top whatever, but is it really worth it? Either way, we're gonna call it a night. It is midnight. I am tired. I probably won't be going to sleep right now anyway, but I'd like to pretend that I am. So that's going to do it for me. I have been your dealer, Yukichi Reikyu. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, etc., whatever time it is in your area, and I will see you next time, likely for the Splatfest, because we're gonna have to do that tomorrow. Well, we don't have to do anything, but we are going to do Splatfest. I have been feeling that I wanted to play Splatoon again anyway. I don't know if it was simply because the Splatfest was coming up that I wanted to do it, or if I just wanted to play Splatoon again, because it has been a while, as I said, but we'll get some Splatoon gaming in, which, of course, we were talking about getting variety and whatnot, but we're probably going to do Splatoon again. We're going to do 2 back-to-back Splatoon streams as we generally do for as we typically do for Splatfest, because we have day 1 and then we have day 2 for the tricolor. Honestly, I may skip day 1, which we have done for the past couple of Splatfests, simply because day 1 is just vanilla turf war, and day 2 at least has the tricolor, which, you know, the whole point, I guess, of the whole point of participating in the event is to play the limited time mode, but I don't know. Let's just wrap things up, because I'm ready to just collapse into my mattress. So thank you all for coming, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.